FM and 710 KEEL.
On the Jack Spring Electric Newsmaker Hotline, U.S. Senator John Kennedy joining us. Senator, good morning, sir.
Morning, Mike. Morning, Aaron.
Morning.
Thank you for joining us this morning. You released a statement on this, the one-year anniversary of the unprovoked attack on Israel by Hamas. And in your statement, Senator, you said President Biden and Vice President Harris need to demonstrate that America will continue to stand with Israel. But that hasn't been the case, quite frankly.
No, it hasn't. I think the Republican Party, for the most part, is united in its support of our ally Israel. I think the Democratic Party is split. I happened to be on a diplomatic mission in China on October 7th. It was a dark day for the Jewish people. It was a dark day for the American people. We had 40 Americans killed. There's still 4 American hostages. And I mention that because I remember thinking, I have no idea what position President Biden's going to take. Is he going to support Israel? And initially he did, and I felt gratified. But over time, it became clear, for frankly mostly political reasons, that President Biden and the Democratic Party are split. There are a lot of members, not all, but a lot of members in the Democratic Party. I call them the Hamas wing of the Democratic Party, and they have more sympathy for Hamas and Hezbollah and Iran, it seems, than Israel and people who believe in the free exercise of religion. And I regret that.
Folks don't realize that 40 Americans were killed during this attack. We still have Americans that are being held hostage, and we have not shown strength. We are not doing anything to get those hostages. It doesn't seem, maybe behind the scenes they are, but it seems like these are forgotten Americans now.
The people, good question, Aaron. The people running President Biden's foreign policy, Secretary of State Blinken, National Security Advisor Sullivan, they're not wartime consiglières. They're diplomats. We're in the middle of a bar fight with some very hard men. The Ayatollah in Iran, President Xi in China, Putin in Russia. And what President Biden's people want to do is quote Socrates. They think the answer it lies in hugs and hot cocoa. And that is not the case.
Right.
Weakness invites the wolves. Now, to its credit, the leadership in Israel has said, look, we're going to fight back. And the leadership has fought back. And we have only been quasi-supportive. And Israel is winning. I do have sympathy for the people killed in the war and their families. No one wants war. But I have yet to see any of the people who are prosecuting this war on the side of Iran or Hezbollah or Hamas stand up and say, here's a reasonable solution. Their solution is to wipe Israel off the face of the earth. Mm-hmm. And many of the people, not all, but many of the people in America, the Democrats who were supporting them, particularly on college campuses, have demonstrated that they believe in diversity, equity, inclusion, and the right to kill and arrest Jews. And that's not a world that we should want to live in.
Mm-hmm.
Senator, we spoke with Speaker of the House Mike Johnson on Friday, and he told us about his economic package that he's unveiled. Obviously, you've spoken with him, I would think. Tell us your thoughts on this economic package.
Well, Mike, as usual, Mike's a deep thinker. He's put a lot of thought into this. obviously, we have to wait until after the election. We have no idea who's going to control Congress. We have no idea who's going to be president. I know what I would like to see us happen, and I'm not going to predict the election because it's going to be really close. I would like to see us renew the portion of the 2017 tax cuts that worked. I would like to see us stop deficit spending. I would like to see us reduce the debt. I would like to see us live within our means, and I would like to see us increase defense spending. But a lot of those goals are antithetical to each other. I mean, you say, well, I say, well, we need to increase defense spending. The obvious question is, well, where's the money going to come from if you cut taxes? Mm-hmm. And this is going to require both Democrats and Republicans. I don't know if it's possible, frankly, but it's going to require us all to sit down and say, look, we're going to have to prioritize our spending and make some really, really hard decisions. Can we do that? Sure, theoretically it's possible, but it's going to depend on the leadership in Washington.
Senator, she just released a statement saying she's sending millions now to Lebanon, but she's got $750 per household, not per person, $750 per household for the victims of Hurricane Helene. And now FEMA is out of money. And we can't help our own citizens who have lost their homes, their lives, and yet we're sending millions to illegal immigrants and Lebanon.
Well, I mean, you're right. And her position is indefensible. The truth is that Lebanon is a mess. And the reason that Lebanon is a mess is because the people of Lebanon are allowing Hezbollah, which is not only a terrorist group, but a political party, to run Lebanon, which means they're allowing Iran to run Lebanon. Mm-hmm. And their sole objective is not to lift up the people of Lebanon, is to use Lebanon as a staging area to try to destroy Israel and destroy America. They don't just hate the Jewish people. They hate the American people. That's just a fact. And it has been demonstrated time and time again. And the way that many of my Democratic colleagues want to handle the situation is appeasement. They say, well, if we just give them money and ask them pretty please and give them a big hug and a cup of hot cocoa, it will be okay. With these people, if you turn the other cheek too far, you get it in the neck. And,
yes.
And that I wish that weren't the case, but that's the way the world is, and we have to accept that. And it is. I have no understanding of why the vice president and her team, and many, not all, but many of my Democratic colleagues believe that. It's such a jaundiced view of the world, but they believe it.
Okay, Senator, last 30 seconds. I said I was going to ask you, the Sunshine Protection Act, when are we going to get this done?
Oh, I don't know.
I know you have other things to worry about, but
I haven't talked to Rubio in a couple of weeks since we left Washington. When I see him, I think I'm going to see him maybe this week. I've been out and about. I've been in Montana and Nevada trying to get our Senate candidates elected, and I'm going to Michigan this week. I'll probably run into Rubio. I'll ask him. I'll tell him to get up off his ice-cold, lazy butt and try to tell us what's going on.
Senator
Rubio's my friend. I like Rubio.
Well, I do too. Thank you so much. Always a pleasure to talk with you, sir.